Hi guys, I know I didn't give a specific time as to when I was going to do it today. I just knew I was going to do a live today. I figured I would show how to do that Harley Davidson gnome. That way later on today I'm setting up a table at the farmer's market, and I think my back and hip are doing okay enough for that. I do plan on taking ice and all that. So I want to see if I can get this done so I can add him to my table. It doesn't look like there's a whole lot of people on yet, but I wanted to go through what all materials I need in order to make him. So I ended up getting these little boots off of Amazon. I think they were like 11 something a set. I'm sure they would be found cheaper, maybe on eBay. I don't do a whole lot on there, but I wanted the riding boots. So, and it's just dull. I don't sew that, so I just end up buying it. And also for the jeans, I don't use a top. I have so many leftover shirts, like the watermelon shirts, but I use the jeans, and this is from the My Life doll from Walmart. Hi, Uncle. So these are the pants that I use for the Harley Davidson gnome. And then the shirt I can use for something later down the road. And then the jacket is actually for a bear. I got it off of Amazon, and I wanted just like a little leathery looking. It doesn't have any bells or whistles, but I figured I can get the patch, which I did. The patch is like $11 as well. I got that off of Amazon. If I got it we have a Harley shop in Burlington. It might be a little bit cheaper there instead of doing it online. I'm not sure. Just do whatever is easiest for you. Hi, Teresa. So with this jacket, it also came with a little itty-bitty pair of glasses. Now, for this doll, these glasses are going to be too small. So I saved them for my smaller gnomes. And then it also comes with like a do-rag or whatever, and it has a spot for the teddy bear's ears. But I just used this top part for his bandana. And for the glasses, I ended up ordering dog or animal glasses. I guess it works for a cat as well. And there was like 12 in a cluster. And so if you do the pricing, it would only be like $1.20 per set of glasses. So with this one here, I've already used my black sunglasses. So this one is going to have some kind of color in it. So I thought maybe blue, or this one's kind of like a yellowy orange. I don't know. I figure once he's done, I will see which one I like better. But these are supposed to be for like little dogs or cats. So I will set those aside. And then at Walmart, they also have this chain. You know how they have those wallets hooked to the chains? I thought that would be an extra cute little touch. I don't make the wallet. All that I do is I show the chain dangling down. You can make the wallet if you want to be more detailed, but this can be as detailed or as less as possible. The last time I made one with these exact stuff, there was about $50 worth of supplies in the gnome itself. So when I sell it, you know, the price is going to be a little bit more because they normally say supplies ×2 and then add your profit on there. Well, it was for a friend, and I did not do that. Now, this one, since I'm just doing it at my farmer's market table, I'm not really going to price it, you know, like doubling it. I'll probably just do materials plus profit, just because around this area, it's a little much for people to come up with that. So, and I don't make them in mass quantities. You know, I just do my craft and then I sell it. But however you want to do it, there's no wrong way. I also get a package of these curlers. They have 2 different sizes at the Dollar Tree. These ones are the bigger ones. You can use either one, but I like the size with the portion of the body, so I use the bigger ones, and I need 4, 2 for the legs, 2 for the arms. And then for underneath the jacket, sometimes if you don't glue the beard all the way down or the hair, sometimes you can see where he would normally wear a shirt. And I'm an optician and I have to wear a white lab coat. And so one of my old lab coats I cut up and made an optician gnome for work. And so I have lots of leftovers. So I just cut a little piece that I'll be using for his undershirt. And then in the legs, I'm going to use chopsticks. It just works a little bit better. In the last one I did with this full setup, I had him sitting down. This one, I think I'm going to try to make him to where he's standing straight up. But the other one, he was sitting down holding a motorcycle. This one, I'm just going to have him stand, and the motorcycle can be like an accessory next to him. So the chopsticks, those will go in the legs. Now in the arms, I still want them to bend a little bit. So I don't want, you know, the wood all the way to the end. I just want it, you know, up to where I can bend it to where it looks like he's got a shoulder. So with that, I do two separate ways. Just kind of depends on what I'm feeling or what I have on hand. But I have these skewers, and they're small, so I can just insert that into the tip there and then just cut off a little piece. Or I have these smaller dowel rods. That's a little bit thicker, and it does give a little bit more stability for it. So a lot of times I'll just use my snips and cut it down and use it. We'll see where today goes. If I get where I want to just hurry up, get it done, it'll probably just be the skewers because they're easier to clip, and I have a bad arm. So anytime I have something that needs cut or whatever, I have to kind of keep an open mind on how I can do it because I do have a bad arm. Now my pool noodle, I normally cut it about 4 to 6 inches. It just kind of depends on how tall you're wanting your guy to be. There's no wrong way of doing it. If you do the 6 inches, he's going to be taller. So it just kind of depends if you want a tall guy or a short dude. And then on the other one, I also put a couple round items on there just so I could round the top of his head. With this one being, I want to say this one's this one I cut to 7 inches. So I'll see if I leave it at 7. I might end up making it shorter, but this is just going to help the fur form the top of his head. And this was a ball. I just cut it in half. And then a friend of mine, they had asked how much the motorcycle was on that other one. Well, I paid like $15 because it was motorized. So you pull it back and it goes and it makes sound and it has lights. But a friend of mine says, you can get them cheaper at Walmart. I said, I don't think so. I work there, but I don't really go through the toy section as much as I should, being a crafter. He goes, check it out. I'm telling you, Walmart has Harley Davidson motorcycles for like five something. So I went, and sure enough, now these don't move, or I think the wheels move, but I mean, it's not you pull it back and it zings. This one, you just move it manually. It doesn't light up, it doesn't make sound, but it still does the same effect. I mean, you still have that motorcycle accessory for your guy, and it still looks really, really cute. They had several different ones. I'm going to show you a couple others. So this was one. I ended up buying all they had left. They only had 3, but I thought, well, shoot, if I make any more of these gnomes and I need a motorcycle, why pay $15 when I got it for $5.97, something like that. Plus, since I work there, I have that discount card, so that takes even more off of there. Now, for the arms, sometimes the arm will be exposed a little bit, so I do use a little bit of felt to just kind of make it look like it's flesh and it's not blue. The curlers also come in pink or green, but I want it to kind of look flesh tone, so I use that. And then, of course, the faux fur. This one I just got at Walmart by the yard, so it works. I did order some faux fur off of Amazon. That one's a little bit more, but there's strips of fur I don't get as much. You know, I get like little sheets like this, but at Walmart I get like an entire yard. I very seldom do little bits because I know I make tons of gnomes. So the white and the brown, I do more of those. So I buy bigger quantities, you know, the bigger amount of those. And then also to put weight in the shoes, I use these little pebbles. I get them at Dollar Tree. They also come in green. It doesn't matter which one you use. They're the same. The only difference is color. And since you're not going to see it, it doesn't really matter. I've also used in the past these little, I don't even know what they're called. It's a type of stone. But I've used these to weight down the shoes as well. I've also used those for the hands. But recently, I've been using the little balls for the hands as well as the nose. But there's no, like I said, you know, there's no wrong way of doing it. It's however you feel comfortable or how you want your gnome to be. Don't go out and buy tons of stuff. Just use what you have. You know, you'd be surprised. What you have in your house works. You don't have to go out and buy extra stuff. Now, at Dollar Tree, they had these little pillows. And I was like, those are so soft. And they have this pattern on there to where it's almost like a mermaid tail. And they had different colors. Well, I want to use the fabric. And so now, if anytime I need stuffing, I cut one open and I use the stuffing from it. So it's multi-purpose. I did buy extra ones for my grandkids because they like that sort of thing too. So, with all that, I'm going to go ahead and start. If I've missed any of my my supplies, I'll try to remember to tell you about it as I'm working. I normally walk through it beforehand, and I kind of gauged. I thought, well, maybe this will be like an hour video. I don't know. Maybe it'll be 2 hours, but I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to set the clothes off to the side for now, and I'm going to work with his legs and the boots. I also cut 2 little pieces of felt because I'm going to put the chopstick in here. And I want to be able to glue that down. Once I put the rocks in there, I want to put that form of glue on the top so they don't come flying out. And if the glue touches this part here, it does want to melt a little bit. So how I'm going to fix that is I'm going to cover a little bit of this with felt. That way, when I do put that glue in there to hold those rocks into place, I will also glue these kind of shut so they don't come leaking out if he gets like tipped or whatever. But this will help keep the glue from melting the curler. So what I'm going to do is with these curlers, if you push down on the top, you'll see that there's like a little button here and a wire that goes up through that button and curls down. So I just take that off, and then you can pull the whole thing out. Now sometimes, since this top part is curved over, when you pull that out, it scrapes the inside, and sometimes it'll pull out a little bit of that. It's kind of like a pool noodle now, so it'll pull out some of that noodle. But it's okay. It'll still work. And with the way I'm doing this, the legs are not going to be bendable. Where the other one, when he was sitting down, I wanted to be able to have his legs bend. So with that, I left this part in, but I took the button out, and then I put a skewer in the top. That way, and it only went in so far. That way I still had a bend on his leg. Hi, Danny. Teresa, right? These boots are so adorable. They would also work for like a horse riding gnome if somebody wanted to make one of those. It just turns out so cute. And I found with the chopsticks, they're just a little bit long, because once I put them in there, I mean that's gonna make, or it's gonna have to go up in there quite a bit. So where those letters are, I normally go up to the second one, and then I create just a little crease in it. And once there's that little crease, I mean, I'm sure if you have enough power, you can just snip them off of there. Hi, Auntie. Thank you for the hearts. So as soon as I have those little creases, I don't know if you can see that on there. I think it's showing. But as soon as those creases are on there, you can just break it off. And I saved these little pieces because you can use them later down the road in like a smaller gnome. So I'll just set that aside. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this one too, same spot. So I'm just creating a little crease. And then I'm breaking that off there. And then what I'm doing now is when you break that off, it kind of shatters that wood, and it'll make it to where it'll be pokey or scratchy. So all that I'm doing is making that to where I'm not going to get poked by it. So I've already taken that out of there, and this forms a point. So I'm just going to put that on that side, and then all that I do is I pull it all the way to the bottom. And then I'm going to glue, and I don't have this where it goes all the way around, but this part's going to be towards the back of the boot. So all that I'm going to need is this part here. So I'm just going to glue that on there. And you will notice that it'll melt that curler just a little bit. So it doesn't take much glue. All that you want is for it to adhere. So there's one. And it's not really hard to put this through there. It works pretty good. You just want it at the bottom there to where when it stands, and then you just want to make sure that they're the same height. This one I think I did cut it to where it will go all the way around, but there's no wrong way of doing it. You just need that piece of felt to help you after bit. All right, so there's that. Then I am going to put glue on the bottom here, and like I said, you will notice it'll start bubbling up, and it'll want to melt that. But with that wood there, that's going to help keep it in place with that wood from the chopstick. So you're going to put some glue on there. And then you're going to put it inside, making sure that crease is towards the back. And then you're just going to hold it in place for a little bit, just to let that glue set up. And you're not going to see all of this part here. You're just going to notice this bottom because those blue jeans will cover this part. Okay, so there it is so far. So now I'm going to do this one. You want that crease towards the back. And see, they're still the same size and height. And the rocks are going to make it stand really well because it'll have that weight, the weight in there. That one's still drying. So now we're going to put the weights, that rocks in there. And I just use like a little cup. I got these, I believe, at the Dollar Tree as well. And then all you do is you dump them in there. Making sure that you kind of do it a little bit slow to where you're going to get it to the top of that foot. And I normally fill these at least halfway. And you'll probably find an easier way of doing it. It's whatever's easiest for you. You could also use sand or rice or anything, beans, whatever. One person on YouTube, they ended up using some kind of beads, like polycarbonate beads or something like that, but I'm just wanting to create some weight so he'll stand. And as I'm going, I'm kind of wrapping some of those, I'm getting it to where it goes towards the back as well. And I don't know if you can see, it shows a little bit on there how full I've filled that. Now the front of the boot sticks up a little bit higher. So there you go, that shows a little bit better as to how much. So I filled it up to about here. And then that goes up to where that felt is on there. So it's about two of these is how much I put in the boot. So 2 shot glasses. And then I'm going to add some glue down in there to hold those rocks into place. And with this part, you can feel the heat from the glue on the outside of the boots. So also be careful on that. And I'm also putting glue all the way around that felt. And then I'm gonna snug up these boots. That way there's no risk of those rocks coming out. They're totally sealed inside that boot. You just want to hold it, make sure that that's good. Now when I put the pants on, it's going to look nice and full down here, but up here it's going to look, you know, a little thin or whatever. So that's where the batting will come in. Once I put the pants on, I'll put a little bit of batting in there to fill out the rest of the leg. I'm doing pretty good with these rocks. Normally I make a really big mess. Make sure you get those all the way to the tips of the toe. And those rocks go quite a ways. I use them for lots and lots and lots of crafts. I ended up doing a mermaid gnome the other day, and I used a little bit of them in the bottoms of the jars, and then the tops were mermaid tail. It kind of like a pencil case, but I flipped them upside down, and that was his hat. I don't know if I've posted pictures of those yet, but I did them the other day. But the rocks, they have so many good functions. I use them mostly to weight the shoes. Even the little itty bitty pink shoes, they work great because there's that little space in the bottom. So I always try to use as much as I can to save. A little bit left. So this is about the same amount in there. Hi, Christina. then I'm adding that glue. Now, if I wouldn't have added the felt to this, and you start putting the glue in here, and I'm telling you from experience because I've done it, it will pull all of that foam part all the way to the wire that was inside there. So that's why that felt is key to help keep it in place. And it'll still give you the thickness that you need. Hi, Danielle. And I want to thank you guys for watching. This one, I tell you, it was one of the most challenging gnomes that I've done. Normally, I kind of stick to like the sock gnomes and I don't know, the easier ones. But this one here was a challenge because I didn't know how I was going to get them to stand. I had never done the standing ones as much. But I have been doing a lot more lately. And it's so much fun. Okay, so there's the boots. It does show like a little pucker right there, but you're not going to see it. That's going to be hidden in the jeans. Hi, Shaylee. So I'm going to... Eventually, I think I will find something to use these little hangers for, because I find that I have a lot of hangers from the doll clothes. I'll find something for them though, I'm sure. And why they have so many of those little tag holders is beyond me. You wouldn't think that they would need so many. So all that I'm doing now is just making sure I have all the little pieces off of there and that the pants are how I like them. And then for now, I'm going to face these towards me. And then I'm going to go ahead and put these pants over top of the boots. And I have found it is easier to dress the gnome as you go instead of afterwards, because they're not as flexible as you would think. So I always try to do the dressing of them a little bit beforehand. It just makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so on this, I'm going to put a little bit of glue right underneath that edge of the pants. Otherwise, you'll have movement on there. Newborn clothes would work good too. Thanks for the tip, Teresa. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue here just to hold the pants in place. I have tons of strings too. Oh, and I noticed this part, it's not that important, but I don't want like any of the stickers to be left on there. So see how on the bottom it has those little stickers made in China, I remove those. I don't keep them on there. If you wanted to, it's no biggie. You can leave those on there. But doesn't it look a lot better without the stickers? And also with the boots, someone had asked if I put them on the right feet. I don't think there's a right and a wrong spot on these because no matter how I move them, they still look somewhat off. And it must just be that the manufacturer can't get it 100% accurate on there. So that's what I'm chalking it up to anyway. So I have no clue. If you find a better way of knowing, let me know. So then what I do is I just kind of pull this down a little bit. And I have noticed that one of the skewers does lean forward a little bit. So when I put that in there, I'm going to make it to where it's perfect on the sides, just so it'll stand a little bit better. Hi, Sebastian. Oh, that's awesome. What are you making? I'm doing the Harley gnome. He's so much fun. I figured people would want to know how to do him. And when I cut the pool noodle, I'm not the best at cutting a straight section. So you just kind of set it how you want it and go from there. And then what I do is I just kind of gauge. Now there's a hole in the center, and I'm going to put the skewer on each side of that hole. And I'm creating the holes first just so I know placement. And then I will glue them after a bit. Okay, so, and really, if you didn't want to glue those in, you wouldn't have to, since, I mean, he's standing, and I mean, the pool noodle weighs nothing, so when you lift it, they're not coming out. The legs come right with it, but I always add just a little touch of glue, just for that security for me. Oh, cool. What are the drawstring bags for? Any certain thing? So then I'm just going to add a little bit of glue in those holes. Then I'm going to line those back up. And it will melt that pool noodle just slightly. But you want to get it all the way down to where those... Oh, I have strings everywhere. Alright, so then you just let that dry just a little bit. And I know I'm going to want some stuffing in there because it normally looks like he's got really thin legs or like you have a stick in there. So I'm going to grab some stuffing out of these pillows. So first, all I'm going to do is pull up the jeans. Plus that stuffing will help give them a little tush as well. So he's not flat bottomed. So you just pull it up just to see how you like it. And I mean, technically, it doesn't look that bad right now. But on the back, I mean, see how he's flat. So he does need a little bit of padding. And then all that you do is you put some of that stuffing in there. Earlier today, I was debating on whether I should move the live to tonight and then just put him in my my sale this weekend. But I thought, why not? I've got some time. I'm just going to go ahead and do it this morning. I'm so glad so many people are able to watch me too. I wasn't sure with it during the daytime how many people would be able to catch it. And then once you have that in there, you just kind of play around with it and it'll go where you're wanting it. Oops. I knew that tomorrow's your birthday, and I wondered if you were going to be at work or not. Okay. So, do you have any special plans for your birthday? I work tomorrow, so. I apologize. I don't recognize the number there. So they're just going to have to wait. Okay, so I'm really liking how this looks. That's a fun way to spend a birthday. I hope you have a good one. I hope it's nice. Okay, so I gave him a little bottom, so he's got a tushy. They just look better with the bottom. It looks better portioned, I guess. So, but I like how the jeans look on him now. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bead of glue around the pants right at the top there. Okay, so then the pants are on. Next, I'm going to prep his arms. Really, he's almost done. And it's only been, what, maybe an hour? Scissors, here we go. So with this, I'm going to take just one side of those buttons off. And then I'm going to leave that hook and the wire in there. I think I'm going to go ahead and use a skewer because with that wire in there, there's not as much space. Where if I used this dowel rod, there would be way too much space there. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue. put this in there, making sure that it doesn't go down too far. So I'm only putting it in this far with that glue. That way I still can bend him through this part here. And then I'm going to use the snips and I'm leaving about 2 inches sticking out. I'm going to go ahead and do that to the other one. And then also just make sure that that glue dries pretty good before you stick it into the pool noodle. And when I'm going to push him off to the side so you can see a little bit better. When I do this to cover the arms, I always leave not really, and maybe a 1/2 inch on there. That way when you do put that bead in there, that's gonna have like a little pocket for that hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and put just a small bead of glue on that felt. And where the felt meets, I normally put that towards like the inside. That way when they go to, like when you bend the hands, that crease is on the inside of the arm and not on the outside where you can see it. And also a friend that I work with, she had an idea. She said for these gnomes, a really cute accessory or whatever would be those fake tattoo sleeves that they have like around Halloween and stuff. Using that material on it so it looks like the arms are all tatted up, that would be a really, really cute addition to it. It would look so cute. And that would be something that I would definitely do. I just don't have any right now. But when I do see them, or maybe I'll even do a special purchase, just so I have some for later on. And then I'm going to cut the extra at the top here. And technically, we did not have to go all the way to the top of this because it will get covered with the jacket. You could have just done like halfway up, and that would have worked just fine. But with this being so hard to glue, because it melts, I just went all the way to the top. And then in that space there, that bead will fit right inside and create his hand. So I'm going to go ahead and put glue in there. And around. I love how these turn out. They turn out so cute. Then you just hold it for a little bit and let that glue sit just a little bit. So that's his hand. The half beads would work as well. I used what I have. There was one time I also used these little pebbles, but I'm finding that the pebbles pop off with the hot glue, so I'm sure E6000 on there would help it stay a little bit better. But the wooden beads, they've been the best for me. And I get so many of them in a package, I ended up just ordering them off of Amazon. So I'm going to go ahead and do the next one. The half beads would work good for noses as well. Or even like one of those drawer pulls or a knob of some sort. That would be really good. And when I first started doing these, I was using all sorts of stuff. I had used pom-poms that I've covered in material. I've used water balls that I've covered with stuff. But then I started going through the stash of craft supplies that I got from my grandparents after Grandpa passed away. Grandma was moving to Arizona, and I got their little crafting set of drawers, and inside there they have so much stuff. And I end up also getting a tub of their crafting supplies, so I use quite a bit of their stuff. So now I'm going to put some glue down inside there. He's coming together pretty quick. Hi, Donna. Okay, so I cut that extra off of there. So his arms are done. Then I will this is probably the trickiest part, getting the arms where I want them and getting the jacket on there. The jacket is pretty loose at the bottom. I also want to make sure that that is folded. But normally I'll put the jacket on first just so I know where I want it to hit on him. And I won't glue it down yet because I do want to add that chain, and I will tuck that underneath. Right now I'm just figuring out the placement for his arms. So I'm going to bend my curler. At this point, a lot of times I refer to them as noodles, just because it's more like a pool noodle now without too much stuff in there. But then I stick these in there just to see where I'm going to place his arm. And it's better to do that with the jacket on, because once I have those arms in place, he's not going to be very bendable, and you could break the arms off. Okay, so once I find where I want the arms. I'm just going to go for it. Sometimes I overthink it. And I mean, I could unzip it all the way, the jacket, but I found with these doll clothes accessories, sometimes they're a little harder to start than a regular jacket. So I just do what I can. But if you want to unzip it and try doing it that way, it's totally up to you. Okay, so that's a good spot there. Okay, so now I kind of mark it with my thumb as to where I'm wanting it. To me, that one might be a little bit farther back than the other, but I think it's still going to work. It's going to be good. So, with that part way out, I'm going to add some glue. And it's going to catch on that felt as well. And I always try to keep the jacket from touching where that glue is, because I do want the jacket to be able to come down just slightly. I'm sorry if you can't see me. I'm just holding down to make sure that it's sticking right. And the last one I had him sitting down, and he was kind of holding the motorcycle with his hands. This one here is just going to be standing up so I can have his arms down. Okay, so that one's in place. So this one I will add some glue and then do the same thing. And I made sure that where the felt meets is down towards his sides. I'm just holding this in place just for a little bit. He's looking so cute, isn't he? Okay. So before I do the next item, I'm going to do his chain. And I haven't been taking it off of the thing here. So there's probably several different pieces attached. I just kind of go willy-nilly. When it's all said and done, I'll probably have tons and tons of chain left over. But it'll all be in little pieces. Okay, so I just pulled off a piece. I did not measure it. You can if you want. And I've noticed the ones that I have done in the past, for some reason I have it on their right side. I don't know if that's mainly because a lot of people are right-handed. I'm left-handed, but I've been sticking them all on the right side. So, okay. So then I'm just going to put a bead of glue where one of his belt loops would be. These pants don't have belt loops, but we're just gonna eyeball it as to where we think a belt loop would sit. let that dry a little bit. And then you're going to do the back. This doesn't have pockets, but I'm going to have it up under the jacket. So it kind of looks like the top of the pocket is hidden from the coat. And I'm going to put that bead of glue back there. Find out how long I want it to dangle. I think that looks good. I think he's going to be a pretty big, he's going to get a pretty big reaction today at the farmer's market. And then before I glue his jacket down, let's see, that's where I have that hanging. Before I glue his jacket down where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and put the piece of material inside there, and I'll probably cut it down just because I don't need so much of it. It's not all going to show, because once I get that on there, I also glue the zipper to the white part as well, just so it doesn't come unzipped. So I'm just setting this where it's gonna sit, and then I'm gonna glue that down. The motorcycle is gonna be tiny compared to him, but I love the size of this gnome. I think he's still going to look pretty good. And the motorcycle's just like a little accessory. Maybe it's a biker that is collecting little bikes. Little itty bitty bikes. Okay, so now that I have that in place, I'm going to go ahead and glue his jacket down. And I'm just holding it in place so it doesn't pop back up. I love how they turn out. I can't believe that he turned out as cute as he does. And since I'm doing more of this style of gnomes, it's really gotten me out of my comfort zone. So now I know I can do some of the more intricate ones. I love where my crafting is taking me. And it still boggles my mind that people like watching crafting videos as much as I do. I knew I liked watching them, but I never thought that somebody would like watching my crafting. And I thank all of you for watching and giving me feedback on all of my stuff, good and bad. I don't feel that there is any bad comments and everything, or bad criticism on here, because it just helps me grow. So you got to have that positive outlook on there, and not be afraid to have those what some people would consider negative criticism. But in reality, it's just somebody else giving you an idea, and you have to go into crafting with an open mind, because sometimes it's not gonna fully go the way you want it, and a lot of times you have a lot of happy accidents, and then the craft becomes so much better. Okay, so he's looking so cute already. So then the next thing I want to do is put the patch on the back. Oh, thank you, Teresa. I find myself gravitating towards all of the videos for crafts, and then there's sometimes I'll make it almost identical to what they have done, but then once I watch that video and do it myself, I'm like, oh, you know what? I have this in my supplies, and so I can redo it and put a whole other spin on it. It's so fascinating that crafting can go in so many ways. And I like doing the lives. I was very hesitant when I first started. Just because normally I'm a very nervous person. I cannot speak in a big group of people. I get really nervous. But I thought, oh, what if I mess up? What if I mess up on this thing? So I just had to go in with an open mind, and you know, it's almost like you're brainstorming with the people. You just don't see them, so all that nervousness isn't there, because not all eyes, you can't feel all the eyes on you. So the video is so much easier, and I love doing the lives now. So what I'm doing is just kind of bending this patch, just because when it comes, it's so stiff. So I kind of bend it and give it a little bit of leeway, because the pool noodle is not straight across and not flat. So I want it to be able to glue down to the back of his jacket. So we are almost done with this gnome, though. After this, I can work on the head, and then he's pretty much done. And with this, I normally put quite a bit of glue on there, just because I don't want the patch to fall off. And then you just place it where you want it. That looks pretty good. And then hold it down to make sure that that stays. Some crafts you can go pretty fast and rush, but I recommend, you know, take your time on some of them. I mean, you'll learn if you go fast and it doesn't stick all the way. So this is experience from the last one. I glued it down and I thought, oh, it's going to be good. No, I had to hold it down for a little bit for that glue to stick. And I mean, you can feel the heat off of there as well, so just be careful not to burn yourself. And don't put so much that it's going to glop out of the outside of it. But I did find a little tip. If there is a spot where it gloops, I guess that's a word, but if it gloops out of the edge, I use these itty bitty scissors, and they're kind of curved. And what I would do is, if there was a glop that was on there, I would run my scissors down there to catch all that extra, and then it would just form that line along that edge. And the hot glue does not stick to my scissors, so I just pull that off once it's dry. So, good little tip that I have learned and I have done many times on my crafting. If there's a glop somewhere, you just use those little itty bitty scissors, and it works great. Alright, so there's his back. He's looking pretty good, isn't he? Oh, I cannot wait. I noticed he kind of looks like he's shifted a little bit, but it's all good. He's looking great. Try not to be too hard on yourself with your crafts, because a person is their own worst critic. And there's always going to be somebody out there that's going to notice, you know, you think, oh my goodness, it's got all these flaws. Somebody else is going to look at it and say, that is so amazing and so beautiful. So just go in with an open mind, and if you're not fully satisfied, somebody else out there thinks that you are very, very talented. So don't cut yourself short. So these pants, Danielle, I found at Walmart in the My Life doll section. The jacket and the boots I got off of Amazon. And Teresa, I've seen a lot of people use the E6000 and the hot glue, because the hot glue will help make it stick right away, and that E6000 will make it like a more permanent bond. The only thing I found with that E6000, I'm allergic to different fragrances, and that E6000 does have an odor that lingers just a little bit, and it does make my sinuses go a little wonky. So I need to use that kind of sparingly and not put tons of it on a project, you know, just little bits, I'm good. But if it's going to be a lot, I'm going to have to do it in a more, you know, like have windows open, or do the craft outside or something, because the smell from it really messes with my allergies. Okay, so I've got this part here done. Now I'm going to add this to the top, because I want that rounded top on there for his head. And just so you know, the glue is going to try to melt or go into the styrofoam. So just a heads up on that. It does make like a little crackling noise. But I just put it on there, hold it for a little bit. We're almost done. Looks like this is probably going to be a 2-hour craft, because I think I started about 10 o'clock or a little bit after. So then once that's on there, I have this fur. And I did not measure my fur. I can tell you what I've got here, but I did not measure it. So it's about 7 inches by 15, and I probably will not use all of this, because I just cut a big, like, I didn't want to have the whole yard on my table, so I just cut this rectangle out just so I could use it for this. And also, a lot of people say, don't use scissors, use a knife. I've used both, and there's a technique to it. This one here, the yard of this fabric, was from my very beginning stages, and I just took a scissors, and I didn't watch where I was going, and I just snipped all of it. So that edge, I don't know if I have it. Yeah, I have it right here. So see how that edge looks pretty straight, right? So that was the beginner in me. So what I did was I took my scissors and just cut the backing. I watched where my scissors were going. And as long as you watch where those scissors are going, you're good. So all that you do, I'm going to show you real quick. I'm just going to use a small piece here. So all that you do is see how your fur is going down. You're going to put your scissors under that fur and you're just going to cut your backing. So as long as you're watching where your scissors are going, you can cut it with scissors. So all I'm cutting is the backing. I'm not cutting that fur. And then when you pull it off, see how that still leaves the really nice edge? And there's not as much flyaway or waste. So as long as you're just cutting that backing, you should be good. You can use scissors, you can use a knife, whatever you are more comfortable with. I would not use the rotary cutter because that will cut your fur. So back to our Harley guy. This bottom edge is what I'm going to focus on right now. That bottom edge I want right here. So I'm just going to see where that hits. And when I wrap it around, I see I'm going to have quite a bit of leftover. So I'm going to cut off probably about 3 inches. And I'm just cutting the back. I'm not cutting the fur. And I save all of my little scraps because I do all different sizes of gnomes. So see, I still have that wispy side. All that I did was cut the backing. I did not cut the fur. So now I'm going to double check to make sure that's perfect. So by cutting off that 3 inches, it's going to fit just perfect. So I'm going to have him face that way because I'm going to have the seam to the back. I'm just going to place now the top of the ball is right here. And so I have this much left. I will probably snip about 1 inch or so off of there because when I go to fold it down, it'll make it a little bit easier. And I had someone tell me, well, it doesn't matter if you just lop it off at the top, you know, with the scissors, because you're not going to need that decorative edge on the top. But the part that I'm cutting off, I do want that nice bottom. So I'm still going to take care, no matter how or what I'm using it for, I'm still just going to just cut that backing there. I'm loving how he's looking. He does look like he's a little tilted, but I promise you, it's my camera. My camera is not centered accurately, but he is sitting really nice. He's doesn't seem like he's leaning to me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, place this where I want, and I'm going to go ahead and put glue along this bottom edge. Oh, I think some of my glue is stuck. Every once in a while, I have to move my glue gun. Do you guys ever have that issue where your glue gun, like, I don't know, maybe it sits a little bit too much, or the glue gun has been working pretty good all this time, so of course it's going to be. Uncle, he does kind of look like a Frankenstein. Okay. So I'm going to move my glue out just a little bit. And then I'll try it again. Here we go. Okay, so we'll try this again. And I'm going to do 2 rows. I'm going to put that where I want it. Fold it over. And I know it's folded over here. That's all right. I actually could take a little bit more off of here, so I think I'm going to do that. About an inch. In a sense, he is kind of like a Frankenstein since I'm creating him. That's pretty cool, right? So I'm going to show you the back. Right here, this is going to be folded down. But right here is where that crease is. And since I cut it just the backing, you're not able to really see where that crease is. And he's looking amazing. So right now, all that I'm doing is seeing where I want that crease to be. I think I'm going to want it, like this. Okay, so you know how you have that tube on there? what I'm gonna do is the edges of this, the edges where it connects up here, I'm gonna connect them. That way it forms that tube completely. So I'm just gonna stick those together all the way up. Then in the front, I'm gonna fold that down to where it touches the top of that styrofoam. I like the Harley Davidson Cousin It. I like that way of thinking. Now sometimes I wish my table was a little bit shorter to where I wouldn't always have to move them off, but I need to be able to see where to put the glue. So I'm putting the glue on the fur and not on that styrofoam, because like I said before, that styrofoam will crackle and everything, but on the center of his head you're going to lay that down to where it touches that styrofoam, and then you're just going to hold it down. So that is what it's going to look like right now. I folded down that front, and then it's going to come up at an angle here and at an angle there, and then this here is your back. And what I'm going to do, I suppose if I folded that down, I could make him into like a little werewolf. That would be cute, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold down one side, and then I'm going to fold down the other. That way it creates like this little, almost like a bun or a tube up here. And then once I do that, I'm going to glue this down here. And that's going to create that he's got a really cool shaped head. And then once I get that done, then I'm going to put his bandana around. So right now, I'm going to put a good size amount of glue there. And I'm going to fold one side down. And I don't know if the camera shows, I have tons and tons of wispies. I'm going to do tons more glue. You just hold that down. Okay, so now I have the sides folded down, and then I have this, it's kind of like a triangle piece sticking up in the back. And I'm going to fold that over and bring that as far forward as I can and glue that down. So even though there's that styrofoam ball in there, folding the extra fabric also created a little bit more height for his head. So that is what he looks like so far. And also I'm going to put a little dab of glue under that zipper just to hold it in place. The zipper of his coat. And then while I let him dry, I'm shedding. Right where this extra dot is for the decoration, I'm going to go just a little bit past that, and I'm going to cut the full lengths. I could measure if I wanted, but a lot of times I like crafting on the go or kind of willy-nilly. Some things I do like making patterns later down the road, but with this one here, I just wing it. So this part here I'll save and use for a different craft later on. And then I'm going to turn in this edge where that dot is. And this is just going to give me a finished edge for the bandana that goes around his head. And I'm using that dot detail as my guideline. Okay, so I'm almost done with this. Can't believe he's almost done. I didn't know how long it took me on the other one that I had made because I didn't time it. I mean, I probably should, since a lot of them I sell, but I didn't pay attention as to how long. Okay. Now, I do think that the tattoo sleeves would give him an amazing look. Now, I also thought I could draw on it with marker, but last time I tried drawing on the felt, it looked a little funny, so I really don't recommend that. I mean, you can if you want. It just kind of depends on what look you're going for. But I don't like how it looks on my gnomes. So with this, I just created that long strip. So I'm going to place this around the head to see where I want it. And then all that I do is I crisscross that in the back. and I glue it down. Cute, right? What I'm also going to do before I glue that down is I'm going to decide what size nose I want for him, because I can give him a really big nose, and a lot of times I go towards that that feature, or I can give him a smaller nose. I'm going to show you guys just so you know, and when I do place it, I do move the fur out of the way, just so it doesn't look like I placed the nose on the fur. So I could give him this nose, or I can use a bigger one and give him that nose. And to me, I normally gravitate towards the bigger ones, but there's no right or wrong way of doing it. So if you prefer, or all that you have is the small ones work. I just happen to have some big ones that I had gotten off of Amazon. So whatever works. Which one did you guys like? Did you like the big one or the small one? All I'm doing right now is moving that fur so I can place that nose where I want it. Danielle, you like the bigger nose? I don't know why I like it so much, but I really do think that it adds, like, character to it, or just a little bit more pizzazz. And I gravitate towards the bigger noses on the gnomes. I think that is what I'm going to use. So I just put a bit of glue on there. And I'm going to put the nose where I want it. And have you noticed, I don't know if you have gotten much of the wooden beads, but have you noticed some of them have like rings in it, like the grain of the wood? But there's a lot of times, if it shows that grain, I'll have it go in a certain way depending on what gnome I'm doing. And lately, all of the gnomes I've been doing, I've been putting like 3 little freckles on the nose. There it is. So with this, I'm going to add 3 little dots. On his nose. Some people do it, some don't. It's just preference. So he's looking so cute. I don't know if it's going to show you. There's those 3 little dots. And I love that he has messy hair. He's looking so cute. And then this will go up here. I love how he's turning out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on here, and I'm just going to glue it down. I'm going for it. Sometimes you just know where your craft is going. Sometimes it takes just a little bit longer. And also, when you do glue this down, like I said before, you can feel the heat from the glue underneath it. So just watch your fingers when you are placing it. I just can't get over how cute he turns out. So I'm just adding some glue to the back to hold him down. Hold down that. And from the back, you can't tell where I added that, or where the creases met. And I don't know about anyone else, but I love playing with the hair. Just to make him look a little bit more, I don't know, a little bit more rough and tumble, I guess. And then the last, well, one of the last, because we still have to put his motorcycle with him as well. But I need to figure out, do I want the yellow-orange glasses or the blue? So I'll have to figure out. I don't know if this has like a kickstand to hold it. Or if that's going to look like he's playing with the motorcycle because it's so small. And that's probably why in the future, if I make more of these, I would definitely go with that more expensive one, just because I know the size works better for him. I haven't thought of gloves. I would have to look and see what all is out there. I mean, I suppose I could put like a black cap or almost like a mitten over top to look like some kind of glove, but I don't know, but boy, he sure is looking cute. So I'm going to show him to you guys, and then let me know if you think the orangey glasses would look with him, or the blue. Teresa, you think these would go better? They do look so cute. And there was one where I took the earpieces off just because it made it easier to glue the glasses in place. But with this one, I'm thinking I can use those to my advantage. And I love adding the glasses because I'm an optician, and it just completes the look, I think. What do you guys think? I mean, I can put them there, or I can put them down on the nose. I find a lot of times when I put them down on the nose, they look really funny. And see, this is what the motorcycle looks next to him. He turns out so cute. The other one, the bike was bigger. It stood like this high. It was a lot bigger. So I will glue down those glasses, and then he will be good to go. I think on my table I will have the Harley sitting next to him, just to have it. If the person wants it, that's fine. If not, I can sell him without. But I cannot wait to see how he does at the market. Teresa, thank you. And Danielle, thank you as well. And everyone that is still with me watching, and the ones that will watch me in the future, I just want to say thank you for watching all of my videos and supporting me so much. I love you guys. This is so much fun for me to do, and I'm thrilled that there's so many people that like watching and help me through my crafts. And the crafts are pretty much your guys's as well, because you help me through and it becomes a group effort. So I do appreciate you guys, and I do love visiting with all of you. So I think with all that said and done, go ahead. I don't know if you can see go ahead and do that. Spread the word. I will be putting this video on my YouTube channel as well. Normally I do the lives on Facebook, and then after a little while, when I have time, I stick them on my Facebook channel. So if you can't catch it on Facebook, it's also on YouTube. It will be on YouTube as well. So I think I'm going to get off here though and get ready for market. I have to go out there about 3 o'clock, and I think I want to maybe get some lunch before then. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for watching. And, oh, Danielle, you are so welcome. A lot of people have been wanting to know how to do this one. And, I mean, the arms are bendable. And, I mean, I can put them closer. He could even hold the bike if he wanted. So, you guys have a great day. And keep checking back on my page. I'll do lives off and on whenever I got time. So, I will see you next time. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.